Hello everybody, it's Miss Morris, and this is the recording of me reading the 4 different slides that we're going to be focusing on from the Ravine. If you remember yesterday in your breakout rooms, we left off with Vinny saying that the water is a little bit too cold and that's why he's feeling like he doesn't want to jump, and we are continuing right after that point. So I will read these pages for you and then you will go answer the questions. Nah, it's nice. Vinny looked away. On the other side of the pond, Joe Boy and Mo were on the cliff behind the waterfall. Joe Boy says your mom told you not to come here. Is that true? Vinny nodded. Yeah, stupid, but she thinks it's haunted. She's right. What? That boy didn't die, Vinny. The stone goddess took him. He's in a good place right now. He's her prince. Vinny scowled. He couldn't tell if Starlene was teasing him, or if she really believed that. He said, yeah, probably. Are you going to jump, or is Joe Boy right? Joe Boy's an idiot. Sure, I'm going to jump. Starlene grinned, staring at Vinny a little too long. He's an idiot, isn't he? But I love him. Yeah, well, go to it, big boy. I'll be watching. Starlene sank down and swam out into the pond. Cripes. And the question for this part of it is, do you think Vinny would have jumped if Starlene wasn't there? Why or why not? Vinny ripped a hank of white ginger from the ginger patch and smelled it, and prayed he'd still be alive after the sun went down. A hank, for, we look down here for the footnote, a coiled loop or bundle of something, such as rope or yarn, and this is ginger. He took his time climbing the zigzag trail. When he got to the part where the jungle hid him from view, he stopped and smelled the ginger again. So sweet and alive it made Vinny wish for all he was worth that he was climbing out of the ravine right now, heading home. But of course, there was no way he could do that. Not before jumping. He tossed the ginger onto the muddy trail and continued on. He slipped once or twice, maybe 3 times. He didn't keep track. He was too numb now, too caught up in the insane thing he was about to do. He'd never been this far up the trail before. Once he'd tried to go all the way, but couldn't. It made him dizzy. When he stepped out and the jungle opened into a huge bowl where he could look down, way, way down, he could see their 3 heads in the water. Heads with arms moving slowly to keep them afloat, and a few bright rays of sunshine pouring down onto them. And when he saw this, his stomach fluttered and rose. Something sour came up and he spit it out. Based on this excerpt that I just read, do you think it's a good idea for Vinny to still jump? Why or why not? Slide number 3. The next few steps were the hardest he'd ever taken in his life. He tried not to look down, but he couldn't help it. His gaze was drawn there. He struggled to push back an urge to fly, just jump off and fly. He could almost see himself spiraling down like a glider, or a bird, or a leaf. His hands shook as if he were freezing. He wondered, had the dead boy felt this way? Or had he felt brave, like Starlene or Joe Boy or Mo, who seemed to feel nothing? Somebody from below shouted, but Vinny couldn't make it out over the waterfall, roaring down just feet beyond the ledge where he would soon be standing, cascading past so close its mist dampened the air he breathed. The dead boy had just come to the ravine to have fun, Vinny thought. Just a regular kid like himself, come to swim and be with his friends, then go home and eat macaroni and cheese and watch TV, play with his dog, or wander around after dark. But he'd done none of that. Where was he? And cascading is something that can cascade, will fall, pour, or rush in stages like a waterfall over steep rocks. So based on this, why do you think Vinny starts to wonder what the boy was thinking before he died? In our last slide. Inch by inch, Vinny made it to the ledge. He stood, swaying slightly, the tips of his toes one small movement from the precipice, an overhanging or extremely steep area of rock. Far below, Joe Boy waved his arm back and forth. It was dreamy to see. Back and forth, back and forth. He looked so small down there. For a moment, Vinny's mind went blank, as if he were in some trance, some dream where he could so easily lean out and fall and think or feel nothing. A breeze picked up and moved the trees on the ridgeline, but not a breath of it reached the 50-foot ledge. Vinny thought he heard a voice, small and distant. Yes, something inside him, a tiny voice pleading. Don't do it. Walk away. Just turn and go and walk back down. I can't, Vinny whispered. You can, you can, you can. Walk back down. Vinny waited and waited. And our question, whose voice do you think is talking to Vinny and why? Those are all the slides, and then remember that you are going to be answering in a submission or a comment. These are the questions. Again, actually, these are sentence frames, so if you're answering each of these questions, you're going to be filling in these little frames. So I think Vinny either would or would not have jumped if Starlene wasn't there because, and then give your reason. So what you could do is you could drag using the left click and drag, right click, copy down here, or in the submission, click, paste. And then you can fill in your answers. So if you think he wouldn't have jumped, just like that, and then because he wanted, and then you write your reasoning. Once you answer all those questions, click post or click submit if you do the submission instead. And if you need to see the presentation again that I just read for us, you can open it up right down here or click view.